1950s, Korea became the prime battleground for the long, hard Cold War. Meet Kim Jong-un, dictator of North Korea, and he represents the division between North and South Korea that remains a source of international tension today. Moving along in topics of the Cold War, this video presentation will be on the Korean War, and information on it can be found in Chapter 21, Section 2 of your Orange Book. We'll be dealing with Goal 10, Objectives 4, explain changes in foreign policy related to the Cold War, and Objective 5, assess the role of organizations established to maintain peace. Our essential question is, how did President Truman use the power of the presidency to limit the spread of communism in East Asia? The Western democracies decide that they need to protect against communism by forming an alliance. This alliance is called NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's formed in 1949. The members of it agreed to act together in defense of Western Europe, and this provides a collective security for all the countries involved. And you can see on the map to your right, the countries involved in NATO, and they even involve Greenland and Iceland. Stalin, in response to this, creates the Warsaw Pact. This is comprised of all the communist states in Eastern Europe. So you can see there in the map, on the right-hand side, everything in red is communist. Everything in blue and yellow is non-communist. So it's a very good image of sort of where the Iron Curtain falls across Europe. These nations, much like NATO, pledge to defend one another if they're attacked. So you can see in this map, the nations in yellow are nations that belong to the Warsaw Pact. The nations in green are nations that belong to NATO. And the beige colored nations there are non-aligned nations, so they're not involved in either NATO or the Warsaw Pact. China becomes a major issue in the division between communist countries and democratic countries. And here's why. Chiang Kai-shek was fighting for control of China. He is a nationalist. He is a friend of the United States, and the United States sends billions of dollars in aid to him to help him fight against communism. But in the end, he fails. And he has to flee, Chiang Kai-shek has to flee to Taiwan. On the other side is Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong is a communist. He is a friend of the USSR. He has a very practical goal, and that he promises to feed the people. The people of China are struggling in many, many ways, and part of that is just the basic need to feed the people of China. And so by doing so, he establishes quite a large following. This becomes the People's Republic of China. And of course, he's able to defeat, ultimately, Chiang Kai-shek. In this next part of the presentation, we'll talk about the Korean War.